Are you new to sewing? Or maybe you've been sewing for years and you just need something fun and simple to get your sojo right back on track. Well, I'm here for you. Hi there, I'm Laura, one of the owners and designers here at Rivet Patterns, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Ottava Ruffle Tote Bag. Now, this tote bag is fabulous because it's simple, but it's cute. The ruffles make this pattern just so adorable. And the bottom panel gives a nice color block. So there's so many fabulous options with this pattern. Best thing about this pattern is it's one of the patterns in our $6 Sew and Watch series. We know that things can get hard sometimes, and sometimes you just want to sew, but the resources just aren't at your fingertips. This is where the $6 Sew and Watch comes in handy. What we've done is we've designed several simple patterns that can be made by anyone at a low price with all the help you need to get sewing. So you have a well-designed, well-drafted pattern, and you have a written tutorial, and you have a basic video tutorial. All of this for $6. We've kind of simplified it so that you, as someone who's new to sewing or someone who's just looking for a basic sew, whether you're new or not, can have what you need in one pattern. So for the Ottava Ruffle Tote, this pattern includes 0 pockets. So you have an outer, you have a lining, and you have the ruffles and the straps. That's really it. That's all you've got to this pattern. Now, does that mean you can't add pockets? Any kind of pocket? No, it doesn't mean that at all. You could absolutely add that. In fact, there's a blog post on our website that will help you achieve any pockets you want. In that blog post, you will learn how to add a zipper pocket to any bag, how to add a patch pocket to any bag, how to add a slip pocket to any bag, and how to add a pocket between straps. So check out that blog post if you want to add even more to your Ottava Ruffle Tote Bag. Additionally, you can leave off these ruffles if you want something that's a little less frilly. That's totally fine. One of the first things that you're going to notice about this pattern is the interfacing. You can see in this size large Ottava that I made here that I use waterproof canvas for the lining, as well as fusible fleece for the outer. Now, it's got a very soft feel to it, which is great. I love it for its kind of like everyday use. But if you're looking for something to make a basket, like an Easter basket or just a storage basket, you could add flex foam and give it a much more structured feel and look. You can lengthen the straps or shorten the straps and get the look that you're going for. So you can see here with the one with the flex foam, it is sturdy, it is stable. Like I'm pushing it and it's coming right back. With the fusible fleece, it does have some structure, but it is easily collapsible. It is easily folded and flattened out. This is more like a basket. Additionally, to make things even more basket-like, I made the boxed corners even bigger, which you can do to make whatever adjustment you want. This is going to be an Easter basket for one of my daughters, and I love it so much. So consider changing up your interfacings to get the look that you're hoping for. Now, I've mentioned flex foam and fusible fleece in the tutorial, but you know what? Based on the fabric that you choose, you can decide what kind of interfacing you'd like to use. So experiment, see what interfacings have to offer. See if you want something very structured or if you want something that's kind of a floppy, typical average tote that folds up easily and stores well. First, let's talk about the pattern pieces that we need. We don't need a lot of them. This is a pretty basic pattern. If you want to add pockets, I will link to the blog post for those in the description box below. Those links are also in the tutorial, so you are set. Let's talk about our pattern pieces. We need an outer, which is one giant piece. Let's see if I can show you here. Okay, that's one outer. Okay, and it is interfaced with, I use fusible fleece on this one. So there's our outer. I've also got my handle markings, so I'm ready to go with those. We need a lining, which is here. I'm using waterproof canvas, so I'm not interfacing this at all because it's pretty heavy as it is. If I was using quilting cotton, I would probably use some SF 101 on it. So that's the lining. Then I need a bottom, and I wanted to show you briefly, I didn't have enough fabric to cut this on the fold, so I cut 2 of them, but I made sure to cut about 3/8 to 1/2 inch extra on this bottom here so I can sew it together and make one piece. All right. And I'm going to do that before we get started. So we have our bottom, then we have our 2 shoulder straps, and then we have our 4 ruffles. All right. Now, when it comes to the ruffles, I think you should use quilting cotton, something thin that's going to be easy to gather. I highly recommend quilting cotton for the ruffle. So the first thing we're going to work on is our shoulder strap, and we have 2 of those. This is waterproof canvas, so I cannot really press this much. It's plastic. So you want to be super careful. So we're going to fold this in half, long sides together. Okay, so you can see I've got this really nice middle crease here. All right. Now what I could do is I could fold these long edges each to that middle crease and give it another press if I want to. Just being really careful not to leave the iron on it for too long and melt it. Now let's look at the other handle. If you're using vinyl or you're using waterproof canvas like I am, and you don't want to use your iron on it, I got you. So grab a ruler and a writing utensil. We're going to mark on the wrong side. This is a 4-piece. Make sure you can see this. This is a 4-inch piece. And so we are going to measure up 2 inches and just draw a line down the center. Now, grab your double-sided tape. So I'm going to take the 5/8 inch all the way down that marking. If you're using a quarter inch one or a 1/8 inch one, you're going to place a strip all the way down on one side of the line and a strip all the way down the other side of the line. I'm just going to go straight down the center. You're going to take one side, we're working on one long edge, and we're going to fold it to the center just like we did when we ironed it. We're going to press it down right up to that center line that we marked. Have some clips. We're going to fold it again. And right down the center, matching those folded edges there, and we're going to give it some clips. All right, let's move on to our ruffle prep. We should have 4 ruffle pieces. The first thing we're going to do with our ruffle pieces is fold them right sides together, matching the long edges, just like this, and we're going to clip at one short end. Just like that. And we're going to do that on all of them. All right. Now we're going to head to our sewing machine, stitch using a 1/4 inch seam allowance across all 4 of these clipped edges, and that is it. We've got that already. Let's move this to the side. Okay, so here's what we've got. This is where it's stitched. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to put my thumb all the way to the end. My finger and my thumb are going to hold that corner together, that sewn corner, and we're going to turn it right side out, poking out that corner to get a nice crisp corner. Okay, if you need to use a tool, by all means, use a tool. All right, now I'm going to grab my iron and I'm going to press these. Okay. And we're going to do that on the other 3 pieces. So you need something to measure with now, and a fabric-safe pen or marker or pencil or chalk, whatever. This is a heat erase pen, so it's my favorite. So we're going to measure up from the raw end, not the sewn edge, but from the raw edge, we're going to measure up 1 inch, and we're going to mark it. And we're going to do that on all 4 pieces. All right, so now we're going to take each of our pieces. We're going to lengthen our stitch on our sewing machine. I'm lengthening mine to 5. We're going to sew some basting stitches from the marked line all the way to the end. And we want to make sure that we have long tails at the end so that we can pull them together. So starting here at our marking, you're going to stitch 1/4 of an inch from the raw edge and then 3/8 of an inch from the raw edge. Okay. And you're going to do that on all 4 of them. All right, here we go. Right now we are going to grab a measuring device. All right, and we're going to consult our tutorial. So I need to gather this to where this end comes all the way to here. So what I'm going to do, if you're new to gathering, this is not hard. You're going to grab just one set of threads. So either the top threads or the bottom threads. If you grab both the top and the bottom, it's not going to gather. Okay, so the other ones you did not choose, just set to the side, and you want to hang on to the ones you did choose. So I have the top. So I'm going to grab my threads, okay, with my right hand, and then I'm going to grab my piece with the left hand right here at the end, and I'm going to pull my hands away from each other very gently. So I'll show you. So just like this, very gently. You're going to go a little bit at a time, then you're going to push the fabric down. Do it again, and I wrap it around my finger so I have stability, and you're going to push it down. And you're going to do it again. And every now and then, you're going to bring your ruler forward, and you're going to check to see where you are. I still have a ways to go. So just push that down like that. Just rubbing your hands across the gathers. Now we're going to pull again. Keep doing it. Okay. Once you get to a certain point, you can tie these off and you can work from the other side if you want. I don't always do that. I know that's a good rule for a lot of people, but I'm maybe lazy. I don't know. So we're going to tie this off just so it doesn't go anywhere and my gathers don't come out. Okay. And now we're going to work from the other side because we still have a ways to go. So I'm picking up my top threads here. There's 1. There's 2. Making sure not to grab the bottom threads. Okay. And again, I'm holding this side with this thread with my left hand, the fabric with my right, and I'm pulling them away from each other. And now I'm pushing those gathers down, and I'm, pulling again. So now I'm going to check again. Looky there, I am almost exactly on. So let's give myself a little bit more room here. Let's see. Yep, I'm ready to tie off. So now I'm going to tie off this other end. And I'm going to trim those, trim the threads because they're really long and they get in the way. Okay, this is a gentle knot. This isn't like tying it, manhandling it or tying it as tight as you can. Grab my scissors and let me cut these tails a little bit shorter before I move on. Goodness. Now you can see it's not evenly spread out here, so I'm going to just spread it out a little more evenly. You just want it to look kind of nice. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's going to be cute. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay, we're checking again. We are good to go on this one. We're going to repeat everything we just did on the 3 other pieces. Right now we've got our ruffles, and we're going to grab one of our handles. All right, so here's what it's going to look like. You can see you've got the folded edge here. You could take the clips out. You can grab your double-sided tape or some pins. I'm going to use double-sided tape. You can see a photo of, in the tutorial of when I used pins and how that works just as well, especially if you're using something like canvas or quilting cotton. I'm going to use double-sided tape, at least on one side of this. Okay, so I'm going to place my double-sided tape right here on this folded edge. The length of my ruffle here, so to about there. Okay. Place our ruffle on top of that tape, about 3/4 of an inch in. We want to just cover our stitch line. So all the way the length of the tape there. Just push it down here. Make sure that everything looks good. There we go. That looks pretty great. Look at it from the other side. Make sure that it's all looking the way you'd like it to. And then fold it over on top, just like this. And then you can pin it in place. I even add a couple of clips on either end. It's up to you, but this is what it should look like. So there's one side. So now I'm going to take the other side. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Set that to the side, and we're going to repeat that on the other strap. Okay, so here's what they will look like on the bag, just like this. There we go. And now what we're going to do on both of these straps is we're going to stitch. We're going to lengthen our stitch to about a 3.4, whatever you like to use for top stitching. And we're going to edge stitch like 1/8 of an inch from this edge all the way around. That's the folded edge. And then on the other edge as well. Here we are. Here's our straps with our ruffles. How cute are they? All right, now let's grab our outer, because it's time to place these. Just going to unfold it, and I'm just going to look at one side of it. So we're going to do one side at a time. You can see that I've already got my markings on here, and you can double check your markings if you pull them from the pattern pieces, and just make sure that they line up with what is on the tutorial. There is a diagram for every size, what it should look like, how they should be lined up. Now we're going to grab one of our straps. Okay. And we're going to line them up. This is really, really simple. The most important part of this is the top. Okay, grab your something to write with or something to mark. You can use a pin to mark it. That's totally fine. It's totally up to you what you use to mark it. Okay, there we go. I'm going to use this, the heat erase pen. We need to know where the stitch line is, and the stitch line is at the top of this marking, so it's 1 inch from the top. So I'm either going to mark here or I'm going to mark here. Okay, we'll do the same on both sides. Okay, what I did originally is I just came out like 1/2 inch, just like that. So you can pin this on, as I've done many, many times, or you can use tape. And so I'm going to tape the length of my marking here. We're going to line up the bottom of our handle and our ruffle with the bottom line here, just like this. Okay, and then all the way up. And you can see I've still got that little line that tells me I'm going to stitch across here. That's my stitch line. Okay, now that I've done that, I am going to iron. If there's any little marks showing, I want to get rid of it. There we go. All right, now let's do this same thing on the other side. Let's take the paper off. There we go. Let's line this up. Press it down, or you can use pins. But as you can see, the tape is way faster. Oops. So if I'm all right, so we're going to repeat that on the other side. Ooh, this is looking so cute. So what we're going to do on each of these is we're going to start on one side, okay, and we're going to stitch right over this stitch line. So you're going to want to take your time, stitch right over that stitch line all the way up to where this marking is. We're going to stop, put your needle down, lift your presser foot, pivot your bag, and sew across here, back stitching a couple times. Put your needle back down, bring your presser foot up, and pivot again, and stitch it all the way down the other side. You're going to do that on all 4 handle pieces. Here we are. Isn't it cute? Now it's time to work on the bottom. All right, let's grab our bottom piece. Flip it over to the wrong side. Wrong side is up. We are going to fold each of the long edges towards the wrong side about 3/8 of an inch. Okay? And I'm going to press it down. Okay, there's one side. Let's do the other side. All right. Voila. Now we're going to grab our outer. We'll scoot this to the side. And we're going to lay it flat out here. Just like this. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. And now we have our bottom. We're going to place the bottom wrong side down on top of the pretty side. So we have all pretty sides facing up. And we are going to line up our box corners here. So you just want to make sure your ruffle is straight out and it's not like you're not bunching your ruffles like that. We want it to, all those pretty ruffles to show. You can clip it on the outside. Okay, you can also use pins, which is the smartest thing to do, just to keep it all in place. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, we've got this all on here. It looks really nice. We want to top stitch around the whole thing. We're going to be basting this. We're going to be top stitching across here. So we're going to top stitch about 1/8 of an inch, just like we did on our handles, 1/8 of an inch of this folded edge. It's looking really cute. I'm super excited. Let's sew it. Our bottom is now on. We are ready to move on. We're going to take our outer and we're going to fold it right sides together. And we're going to line up those side seams and those boxed corners. Okay, I'm going to set that to the side and I'm going to grab my lining and I'm going to do the same thing there. So with the outer, I'm going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and I'm going to stitch down both side seams. All right, then I'm going to take my lining and I'm going to do something a little bit different here. Okay, I'm going to sew down both side seams, of course, but I'm going to start at 1/4 of an inch up here, and then I'm going to gradually come to a 1/2 inch to 5/8 inch. It's up to you, all the way down, keeping 5/8 inch here. I'm going to start up here at 1/4 inch seam allowance and sew at 1/4 inch for about an inch or so, 1/2 inch, and then gradually go to 5/8. And I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to sew from here to here at 5/8 inch seam allowance. All right. This, we're not going to sew here, no sewing. This is for birthing our bag. Let's do it. Okay, you're going to trim our seam allowances. Over here, we're not going to trim over that opening. So we're going to angle that out there. There. Okay, and now we're going to trim our outer seam allowances. Now it's time to box our corners. This is super easy. You just have these openings here on the sides, just like this, and open it up, and you're going to just match those raw edges. On the outer, we're going to sew these box corners at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. On the lining, we're going to sew them at 5/8. All right, we are going to trim those seam allowances again. Now let's open up our outer here. We're going to keep it wrong side out. We're just going to push those handles to the inside. Okay, so you have that just like this. And now we're going to turn the lining right side out. Now we're going to place our lining inside our outer. Now we're going to line up our side seams. These are going to be right sides together, so make sure your right sides are together. And then all the way around. Now we're going to head to our sewing machine, and using a 1/2-inch seam allowance, we're going to stitch all the way around it. Here we are. Now you could trim that seam allowance down if you want. I'm good. I think I'm just going to keep it for now. I don't think it's that bad. All right, now I'm pulling that lining out, and then I'm finding the opening, and I'm reaching my hand in, and I'm going to pull the outer out through that opening. Push the lining down into the bag. And there, I actually have my hand through the lining opening so that I can get in there a whole lot easier. Okay, cute. Okay, now we're going to push that lining down all the way to the bottom. And so that's going to pull a little bit of your outer of the exterior to the other side. So you're going to have about a 1/2-inch lip of the exterior coming behind into the interior. So just make sure you're pushing that lining all the way down. Okay? And here's what it looks like. Now I'm going to grab an iron because I want to press this to make sure everything is as it is supposed to be. Normally, I would just say top stitch all the way around the bag. But if you do, you're going to catch your ruffles, and you don't want to catch your ruffles. So I'm going to pull this way. This is just my little tip, just like this on both sides. And just clip it to the handle here. Just like that. You can pin it as well, whatever works for you. Just like this. Okay. We're going to top stitch between the handles. We're not going to top stitch over the handles. So you're going to go from here to here. Then you're going to open it up. You're going to go from here to here, here to here, and here to here. All right, we're going to use a 1/4-inch seam allowance. All right, now we've got to close that opening in our lining. So we're going to reach into our bag, find the opening. There it is. We're going to pull it up, push those raw edges in. You could clip it or not, and then we're going to, using like an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, we're going to stitch that close. All right, we've done it. We've made all 3 sizes of our Ottava tote. And as I said in the intro, I used fusible fleece and waterproof canvas on the size large as well as on the size medium, but I still use flex foam on the size small. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and you'll join us next time on our next $6 Sew and Watch.